Nigel should have been sacked. We know that. We've gone over that. God knows how many times. He's not going to be. Is it going to be great to be owned by possibly what could be a circus? Well, no, it may not be. Could it be better than now? 110% yes, because it's absolutely dire at this moment in time. And I love the club. As I say, I don't dislike the people personally, but the circumstance, the here and now, we are at desperate. We are at going bust door. That's what it feels like. As much as you can sit on a podcast, a question and answer, and say we're going to be in a better position than Wrexham if we get relegated to the National League. That's just spin. Yes, we're in a better position because we are a bigger town. Birkenhead has 2.5 times the population of Wrexham, I think, if you think of it like that. But let's look at Wrexham. Everything that's good about Wrexham, it isn't coming from the LL postcode, is it? It's coming from Boston and all the American interest. What we've got with Tranmere and the possibility there is let's look at the Americanized spin. We are in a footballing part of the world. We've got the population of the world's over 300,000 people. You've got Liverpool of 500,000 people near enough, right on the doorstep. So yeah, and there's a load of people that want to go and watch football in Liverpool, and they can't because there's Norwegians, Danes, and Londoners buying tickets at 250 quid a pop. So if we can get Tranmere playing some entertaining football, we may have to deal with a few day trippers. But at this moment in time, this decline has totally changed my mind. I'm all for it. Let's get new blood, new energy. Let's get that glass tent open and let's make Prenton Park as special as it can be, because it's absolutely criminal to go there on a Tuesday night with 4,000 people there, watch dire football, and literally have something that you loved slowly over 90 minutes drain the life out of ourselves.
Well, it has been draining of late. It really has. The results have been absolutely terrible. 2 home games over the last week and only 2 points picked up. And as you say, that gap between Tranmere and the relegation zone, it hasn't been getting bigger, it's been getting smaller. And that's why we find ourselves in quite the predicament that we are now, with many supporters baffled that a change of manager hasn't been made and people continuing to question the motives and the decision making of those making the decisions, both on the field and off it at the moment. If we move on to the current predicament on the field, Rich, because I'm sure the ASAP Rocky and Joe Tacopina chat will continue in weeks to come when we find out a little bit more about what's going on. As you say, that gap to the relegation zone thankfully didn't become -1 points on Tuesday night when Morecambe thankfully lost to Doncaster Rovers. For Tranmere's point of view, it's just dreadful, isn't it? It's absolutely dreadful when you're sitting here having to rely on the results of 2 other teams to stay out of the bottom 2 week after week after week. And what have we become? I've said that question on here before, but what have we become?
Well, you can sit and look as a fan and go, oh, it's terrible. But then you start looking at actually what we've got on the pitch. And we've got a front left flair player playing left wing back. We've got the best right back at the club playing right-sided centre back. We've got a left-footed centre half who genuinely over the last few weeks hasn't looked like he's been that bothered, and genuinely sort of playing massively under his abilities. We've got players all across the pitch. We got Sol Solomon, someone who probably played front right, maybe up front, maybe benefit for a little bit of space, being played in the centre of midfield. We've got central midfielders who apparently are kicking chewing gum and using 4-letter words towards fans in a way defeats. We've got an absolute, as you say, I was afraid of my club becoming a circus of media. Well, that maybe actually be slightly more positive than where we're at now. So for us to be looking, going, oh, it's terrible, and we know exactly the reasons why it's terrible. So to say that we're questioning the people at the top of the club and why it's happening, we're quite right to. And these are people that I respect and still, to certain points, I said, I don't believe it's personal. I just can't believe they read the room so wrong. For someone like Nigel Adkins, I'm not a football manager. But playing at home with Amari Patrick, I don't want the ball at his feet on our 18-yard line. I want it at his feet on their 18-yard line. And that's glaringly obvious. playing him in the position that he is, what benefit are we getting out of him? We played against a team in Fleetwood. They didn't have a recognised forward on the pitch at the end of the game, yet we're still in a shape where we've got a back five. We met up and did a podcast after Salford at home, and Salford came to us in terrible form. And there was nothing gung-ho about Tranmere that night. It was a 0-0 draw, and it was just terrible, stale. There was no plan B, and there was no kind of attacking thrust. At home, Prenton Park, that's where we're going to keep our league survival. The decisions that the manager has made in the games that we've had have caused us to have very average, if not terrible, results at home. So for us to be in a bad position is not surprising.